Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
We're glad you're here. I'm Whitney Ward. We are beginning tonight, of course, with a look at weather. Very stormy weather has made its way into the inland northwest. A lot of heavy rain out there.
We bring you KREM 2 team coverage. Kyle Simchuk is in the storm tracker tracking conditions at this hour. But let's begin with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo with a rundown of the storm right now. Jeremy?
Well, Mark, Whitney, Kyle, we all have good news right now. Our severe thunderstorm warning has expired. It expired at 5 p.m. right at the top of the hour, but this storm system has packed quite the punch. Everything from downed tree limbs to shingles ripped off roofs and local flooding already reported out of this, in addition to some hail upwards of the size of a ping pong ball. Most recent report coming in from Coeur d'Alene, and it looks like a 1-inch branch broke off a tree off Steamboat Road and broke the windshield of a car. You can see this line of storms in the past hour moving its way from Kootenai County into Spokane County. Some of that heavier rain coming down here in town. I think if you're up at the Y here in town, you're seeing some of that very heavy rain come down. That's going to continue to fall there for the next 15 minutes or so. This storm seems to be moving to the west, from east to west at 15 miles per hour. So once you make your way to the backside of it, lighter rain is expected. But let's go throw that lightning back on. Tons of convection. Convection is always a great sign of how much energy you have in a storm. Look at all of the lightning. There is a lot of energy embedded within this storm, and it likely stays that way. When we put things in motion, it moves through and we wind up on the backside of this in the 7 o'clock hour. And then as these storms move into central Washington, with the lack of daytime heating, they will weaken overnight and then start to see a resurgence as that low pressure center gets closer tomorrow morning. And then it's more steady rain throughout the day tomorrow, a lot of that off to our north. For that reason, we have flood watches in effect through Friday morning for heavy rain. Everything from burn scar flooding to urban flooding to low-lying and poor drainage areas flooding. If it floods in a situation like this, it will likely flood today or tomorrow.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. And we do want to turn our attention now to the roads. People trying to make their way home here in the 5 o'clock hour. Kyle Simchuk is joining us now live in the KREM 2 Storm Tracker with a look at those conditions. So Kyle, what are you seeing right now?
Well, Whitney, definitely a little more water starting to pool up on the roadway. Right now we're cruising down Dishman-Micah, about to get back onto Interstate 90. We've spent about an hour on I-90 and, you know, there was some traffic. I wouldn't say any more than usual. We haven't seen really a whole lot of wrecks, but I'd say drivers definitely taking it a little slower. The rain sort of, you know, if you're following close to a car, the rain comes up, gets on your windshield, you can't see as well. We went all the way over to State Line. I'd say that's where we saw the heaviest rain. I got out of the car for about 8 seconds and I was just completely soaked. So we're gonna head down onto I-90 westbound. We're gonna head down to downtown Spokane because as we know, some of these previous storms, some of those streets downtown, they start to pool, get a lot of water. So we're gonna be checking on those and we'll check back in with you later throughout the night. Send it back to you, Whitney.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. We're going to stay on top of this storm, so stay with us for the rest of this newscast and then again for KREM 2 News at 6 for the latest on this severe weather. In other news, a battle brewing inside Spokane City Hall will come to a vote next week. City Council is expected to hold a vote on an emergency ordinance Monday, prompted after complaints and a call for an investigation into the police chief. But as KREM 2 Shannon Moutier found out today, a possible investigation isn't the only thing council members and the mayor disagree on. Shannon?
Yeah, we've been keeping tabs on this story since March when activists called for Spokane Police Chief Craig Meidel to resign. They say emails between Meidel and downtown business owners showed favoritism and special access to city records. This Monday, City Council is expected to make an emergency change to City Code, which currently says complaints against the police chief shall be directed to the mayor. Council President Brian Begg says the police ombudsman has the authority to investigate officers under city charter, but he says city code doesn't match.
They left out the ombudsperson investigating the police chief, and so we are going to fix that. We're simply going to remove the language that kept the ombudsman from doing it.
He points to a 2013 voter-approved charter amendment. Here's what it says. The Office of the Police Ombudsman has the authority to and shall independently investigate any matter necessary to fulfill its duties, which includes complaints against police officers.
I have said a number of times that I'm not going to initiate an investigation of our police chief.
Mayor Nadine Woodward says there's no merit in investigating claims of favoritism by Chief Meidel.
Well, I have the authority to investigate the police chief. The ombudsman does not. And if the council wants that, then they're going to have to change the city charter.
So the charter change that she's talking about already took place in 2013. I just don't think she's read up on the charter.
Begg says changing city code won't impact the mayor's authority to launch investigation. The proposed ordinance just cleans up discrepancies between city code and city charter. Still, Woodward questions Beggs' call for an investigation.
This is a personal issue that he has with our chief, who has been active in the last 2 legislative sessions to advocate to get tools back for our police officers.
Beggs denies this, and in turn says Mayor Woodward is keeping this issue going.
I think she's making it into a political campaign issue, and that's really unfortunate because any other executive, I think, who has a complaint against them, she promptly gets an investigation that exonerates them, and then they go on.
Now, we want to be very clear, Monday's vote will not launch an investigation into Meidel. Begg says that's up to the ombudsman on whether or not it happens. Shannon Moudy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. Following more than a year of work, Spokane has a new Civil Rights, Equity, and Inclusion Officer and a new director.
Jarrell Haynes is expected to lead that new office after an appointment by Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward. Haynes is a former Spokane Public School Board member who has been working as a civil rights coordinator now for more than a year already. Woodward says that Haynes is the perfect fit because he knows and is trusted in this community.
Has an excellent track record of relationships and building trust and dealing with equity and inclusion issues. This community knows Jarrell.
City Council is expected to consider Haynes' appointment coming up on Monday.
Tomorrow, 2 hearings will be held to discuss the scope of a gag order in place in the Moscow murder case.
The first hearing will address the family's issue with the gag order. Then a second hearing will be to hear evidence in the media's lawsuit for transparency. KREM 2 is a part of that lawsuit. Right now, anyone connected with the case is prohibited from speaking to the media.
We'll make sure to bring you any update on that hearing tomorrow on KREM 2 News as well as our website, krem.com.
Well, today would have been Kaylee Gonzalez's 22nd birthday. She was one of the 4 University of Idaho students killed in November. In honor of her birthday, Kaylee's family is celebrating today as Kaylee Jade Day.
So people can honor her life and legacy by purposefully doing something they love to do. And then you can share how you are celebrating Kaylee's day using the hashtag Kaylee Jade Day on social media.